Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at something you probably use every single day, but maybe don't think much about.
Your chair.
Exactly, your chair. And you might be thinking, chairs, really? But, well, our sources show this is a surprisingly massive and fast-growing global market.
It really is.
Get this. Revenue was over, what, $40 billion back in 2021.
40.67 billion to be precise.
Right. And it's projected to hit nearly $50 billion by 2025.
49.36 billion.
And then forecast to surge past $72 billion by 2033.
72.71 billion. That's a compound annual growth rate. Basically, the average yearly growth of almost 5%.
Wow. 4.96%. That's pretty robust.
It is. And what's really fascinating, I think, is that this isn't just, about places to sit. This growth, it reflects some really profound shifts in how we live, how we work.
Okay.
Driven by big innovations in things like ergonomics, design, even sustainability. So our mission today for you is really to unpack what's fueling this huge market expansion.
Okay, let's definitely unpack that. So beyond just needing somewhere to park ourselves, what is really driving this impressive growth?
Well, it's complex. It's multifaceted, really. For one thing, there's just a growing demand for seating that looks good, stylish, but also practical space saving, sometimes multifunctional.
Right. Things that fit modern living.
Exactly. For homes, but also commercial spaces. And then a huge factor, obviously, is the whole hybrid work culture.
The work from home effect.
Absolutely. That shift continues. Think about it. After spending all that time at home, maybe on a dining chair.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah. People really started noticing, bad posture, back pain. So there's this huge surge in interest for premium ergonomic seating, better chairs for the home office.
Big time.
And companies, they're investing big time in redesigning their own workspaces for these new hybrid models, flexible spaces, better seating. Yeah. Plus, sort of running alongside all that, you've got this rising demand for sustainable furniture options and just generally a desire for more premium home decor. It's all connected.
It really paints a picture of why there's so much demand. But where geographically is this growth really surging? This is where I found the numbers really eye-opening.
Yeah, the regional breakdown is quite something. So North America, it leads the pack, a really solid demand base there.
Okay.
We're looking at projections moving from about $14.25 billion in 2025.
$14 billion.
Up to over $20 billion by 2033. So $20.13 billion. And the U.S. specifically is the giant within that.
The biggest single market.
By far. Expected to be over $16 billion, just the U.S., by 2033.
Wow. What about Europe?
Europe's a major player, too, absolutely. Forecasted to grow from around $9.2 billion in 2025 to nearly $13 billion by 2033.
$13 billion, okay.
And interestingly, France is popping up as a real hotspot for growth there, a CGR over 5%.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. While places like Germany and Italy, strong furniture manufacturing bases, they're seeing steady growth too, especially driven by demand for those sustainable materials we talked about.
Gotcha. So North America and Europe are strong, but are there regions really accelerating, maybe catching up fast? Yeah. Any surprises?
Oh, definitely. Asia Pacific, that's where the fastest momentum is, globally speaking.
Really?
Yeah, the region's expected to leap from almost $20 billion in 2025.
$20 billion, wow.
To a huge $30 billion by 2033. $3 billion. And you see some incredible growth rates in specific countries. India, for example, over 6% CAGR. Singapore, nearly 6%.
What's driving that specifically?
Well, it's a mix. Rapid urbanization is a big one. Lots of new real estate projects, both residential and commercial. And again, those shifting work from home trends are hitting there too.
Okay. Any other surprises?
Africa. It's really emerging as a high-growth region, maybe starting from a smaller base, but the rate of growth is impressive.
Oh, impressive.
Well, projected to almost double, from just over $1 billion in 2025 to nearly $2 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 8.8%.
Wow, 8.8. That's significant.
It really is. And a lot of that seems tied to expanding retail networks, improving living standards in key countries like South Africa, Nigeria.
Okay. And briefly, South America.
South America is also growing steadily, expected to reach over $5 billion, $5.24 billion by 2033. Brazil and Argentina leading the way there with strong demand in both housing and the hospitality sector.
Okay, so pulling this all together, this surprisingly deep dive into chairs.
Yeah.
What does it really tell us? What's the key takeaway for you, the listener, thinking about our spaces?
I think it shows the chairs market is really thriving because it hits this sweet spot between, basic functional needs we all need to sit and this growing appreciation for aesthetics, for innovation, for well-being, for sustainability.
Right. Function meets form meets feeling good.
Exactly. And it's clear that these markets, particularly in Asia Pacific and Africa, they're evolving super rapidly. Huge opportunities there for manufacturers, for retailers who can tap into those diverse and growing needs. It just shows how even, everyday items reflect these massive global shifts.
It really is an eye-opener. Something so simple, so basic, telling such a big story about global economics, trends, how we live, what we value.
Indeed. And it leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? As our lives keep changing, remote work, cities growing, sustainability becoming more crucial, how will the actual chairs we use continue to change? How will they redefine comfort, style, maybe even how we interact with our spaces, both at home and at work?
Something to definitely think about next time you take a seat. Thanks, everyone, for joining us on the Deep Dive. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into something that seems, pretty ordinary, chairs.
Right.
But our source, the Global Chairs Market by Cognitive Market Research, shows it's actually incredibly complex, global stuff.
It really is.
So our mission here is to pull out the key things, the important bits shaping this everyday industry.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, how something like a chair connects to, everything. Health, tech, environmental worries.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about how it links back to you.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The source points to pretty strong growth, right, in the global chairs market.
Definitely.
But, okay, beyond just more chairs being sold, what are the maybe less obvious things pushing this? Especially this demand for ergonomic, functional seats.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. I mean, sure, people are more aware of posture. We all know that. But the report highlights some other drivers, like actual regulations in some countries about workplace safety.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're basically forcing companies to upgrade. So demand for certified ergonomic chairs goes up, even if it wasn't a big deal there before.
Huh.
And get this, there's a link to insurance claims. Musculoskeletal stuff.
No way.
Yeah. So companies are buying better chairs before problems happen. It's not just comfort, it's compliance and saving money long term.
Wow. Okay, I wouldn't have immediately thought of insurance. So regulations, insurance,
Yeah.
they're literally shaping the chairs we sit on.
Exactly.
And sticking with workplaces, what about the huge shift? Remote work, hybrid models, how's that affecting things?
Oh, massive impact. A seismic shift, like you said. The report shows this huge jump in sales for premium executive chairs, but for home offices.
Right, makes sense.
People who maybe just used a kitchen stool before, now they're spending real money because they're home all day working.
Yeah.
It's created this whole new group of consumers who actually know what they're looking for.
Totally get that. Okay, so strong drivers pushing things forward. But like always, there have to be challenges, right? What are the big headwinds?
Well, yeah, there are definitely restraints hitting the bottom line. A big one is raw material prices just swinging wildly. Steel, plastics, fabrics, everything. That volatility plus ongoing supply chain issues, shipping costs going up.
It all adds up.
It really does. It messes with production schedules, prices. It's a fundamental cost pressure, not just like an annoyance.
And that probably feeds into competition, right? But the report mentions the market is super fragmented.
Exactly.
Especially like mid to low end chairs.
Yeah.
Lots of them look the same, low differentiation.
You nailed it. And when products are too similar, what happens?
Price wars.
Bingo. Intense price competition makes it incredibly hard for brands to build loyalty, and it really limits how much profit they can make.
Even the ones trying to offer better stuff.
Yeah, it's tough. Kind of a race to the bottom for many, unless they find a unique angle.
So that's the big question. How do they find that angle?
Yeah.
Which brings us to emerging trends. Sustainability is obviously huge.
Oh, definitely.
But what's actually happening there? What specific things are making a difference?
Well, manufacturers are getting pretty creative. It's not just about using recycled stuff anymore.
Okay.
We're seeing this push for circular design, designing chairs so they can be easily taken apart, components recycled.
Smart.
Yeah, and things like FSC certified wood, from responsible forests or really advanced recycled plastics that are still strong. These aren't just buzzwords now. Green certifications, they're real selling points. Consumers are actually choosing based on that.
That's a good trend. But going green isn't always easy, is it?
Yeah.
Doesn't that create its own problems, like costs, compliance?
It does, yeah. Using new materials, new processes, it often means more investment upfront.
Yeah.
And navigating all the certifications can be tricky, especially for smaller companies.
Right.
But connecting this to the bigger picture, you also see smart innovation shaking things up at the high end.
Like tech in chairs.
Exactly. Imagine chairs with, like, built-in sensors that nudge you if you're slouching.
Whoa.
Or heating elements that adjust to you, all controlled by an app. It's blending furniture with the Internet of Things for, personalized wellness.
Folding chairs, modular stuff.
Yeah, appealing to techie people short on space.
Okay, and one last thing,
Mhm.
e-commerce.
Yeah.
It's more than just clicking buy now, right? How's it changing how we actually choose a chair?
Oh, it's revolutionary.
Yeah.
You've got digital tools where you can customize everything online, fabric, color, features. But the real game changer, AR and VR, augmented reality.
So you can see it in your room?
Exactly. You can virtually place the chair in your office or living room through your phone, see how it looks, how it fits, before you even buy.
That's cool.
It makes it super personal, and it helps those direct-to-consumer brands reach way more people who might never go to a physical store.
Okay, so we've done a deep dive into this surprisingly lively global chairs market. It's been pretty fascinating. Seeing ergonomic demand pushed by regulations, not just health. The remote work boom, changing everything. Those big challenges with materials and competition, and then these pushes into sustainability and smart tech. It's a lot.
It really is. And what's so interesting here, I think, is how something as basic as a chair can be, like a mirror, reflecting these huge shifts in health awareness, economic stuff, tech innovation, and, that collective move towards being more sustainable.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Well, maybe the next time you're looking for a chair, you'll think of it not just as, a place to sit, but as a product of this huge, complex, fast-changing global industry, shaped by all these forces we maybe don't normally see.